Hi, I'm Sam. Today's video is going to be focusing on the Army Officers Selection Board. We're going to go through a complete timetable of the assessments that you're going to get over your week there, and also at the end we'll focus on some hints, advice and general tips from officers that have come out the other side of that week. Let's start off with your briefing day with your 24-hour assessment on your suitability on becoming a commissioned officer within the British Army. So firstly, make sure you're presentable, courteous, polite, and have a general air of confidence, but not so confident that it can actually be perceived as arrogance. So, day one, you'll start off with a brief and then you'll move into your icebreakers. Approximately 2 minutes on your favorite subject, which is yourself. You need to put that in some form of chronological order. So start from hobbies, interests, what you've done in the past, what you do now, and also make it relatable and to the army, and also discuss your transferable skills as well on what you've done in the past, how that can transfer into the military, and also how it shows or displays that you have the current qualifications to become an officer. From the icebreakers, you'll then move into group discussions where you will sit in a semicircle, get given a topic, and you will then all discuss that topic. You need to have a really good grasp of current affairs for these group discussions, and also it's probably a good idea to learn a little bit about the geographical layout of the world. You think about reading books such as The Prisoner of Geography, which is a really good book, and it goes into all the geopolitical and economical state of the majority of the major fighting powers throughout the world. You could also get a subscription to the Week magazine as well. Some important points about group discussions. Be confident, ensure you give input, but do not become aggressive or overbearing if you don't agree with someone. If you don't agree with someone's point, that's absolutely fine, but you have to show that you're willing to let them finish, absorb the information, and then be able to articulate a good counter-argument in a breath which shows that you're not being aggressive towards them and that you have listened to them, you've absorbed the information, and then you are delivering your point of view. After the group discussions, you're going to have the mental aptitude tests, by which you're probably going to need a GCSE B grade level knowledge on you at that time. If you don't know where you are at this moment in time, that's fine. You can go onto BBC Bitesize and download a GCSE grade paper, and the link for that is in the description box. Once you've done your mental aptitude test, you'll then be given a tutorial on how to conduct a planning exercise. Listen intently to the tutorial. As the first thing you do on Tuesday, or day 2 rather, is going to be a planning exercise assessment itself, which does involve more mathematics with the equation distance equals speed times time. Wow, just remembered it. So you're going to have to learn that as well. So just look it up, distance, speed, time, and have a look for some papers that you can practice that equation with. After the planning exercise, you will then have your interview. Now with the interview, they're going to go over your CV, more than likely. So do not exaggerate, overindulge, or lie on your CV, because you will get caught out. They will also ask you about current affairs once again, so make sure, as we said earlier, you have a good knowledge of that. And they will probably ask you about Sandhurst, what Sandhurst's motto is, and also what you understand about what happens at Sandhurst. So please look into the background of that. If you've chosen a cap badge that you'd like to go into, Royal Engineers, Royal Signals, etc., and that you want to go into itself, you will also have to look at some of the background on that as well. I'd probably also advise looking up leadership and management, what it means, and also where you've displayed good leadership and management in the past, and also where you perhaps have been let down by your own leadership and management, and how you've actually grown from that experience and has made you a better person and, in your eyes, a better leader. So from the interview, you're going to move on to the leaderless command task, where you will be in a group. This is where you can display how you work well as a team, but also how you can take the forefront and lead the team should it be required as well. You'll be given a task, and from that task you'll have to overcome an obstacle. That might be from getting from one tree to another, where an imaginary lake is in the middle, almost like the floor is lava. Don't know if you've seen that, my kids watch it. It will pretty much be something like that, just not quite extreme, and it'll more than likely be outdoors. If you've got an idea on how you want to overcome this obstacle, still listen to other people's ideas as well. Don't go shooting people down, because that is not what the duty staff want to see whatsoever. They want to see you working as a team, and also, if necessary, taking the lead should you feel you have the correct plan. Also, don't be afraid to try and experiment as well. If there's a dodgy looking pole that you think can be walked across, go for it. If you fall off, you'll be given another go. If there's a rope between two trees that you think you can climb across, go for it. If you fall off, you'll be given another go. They just want to see you experimenting and not having too much fear on the day. So once you finish your leaderless command task, you'll then go on to the fitness test. You'll have the multi-stage fitness test, which is the beep test. I have on my channel a full beep test that they use there that you can practice with. You will also do the med ball throw and also the mid-thigh pull, and I also have other workouts which can help you train for them as well. So once you've completed the 24 hours, you'll then be put into 4 categories. Category 1, which means you will advance straight through to the next round. Category 2 means your DS feel that you're almost there, but you have some points to work on, and you'll be given a time to go back and reset the 24-hour assessment between 3 to 6 months. Category 3, the DS think that in the future you're going to be ready, so potentially come back within around 2 years. And then category 4 is basically don't ever come back, and you are not really what the British Army are looking for. Okay, now we're going to move into the main board, which essentially starts on a Tuesday, finishes at the Friday. You will start off with your fitness assessment. So again, you're going to do your beep test, mid-thigh pull, med ball throw. Ensure you don't fail these, because if you do, you're gone, and that's the end of it. So basically, ensure that's the one thing you can do, is get fit for the assessment centre. That's the easy part of it, which is something that is completely in your control. Once you've passed them, you'll have an introductory talk, and then you're going to go on to some written and aptitude tests. So the aptitude tests are going to be in the form of memory and attention tests. You'll also have a verbal numerical test as well, and you'll also then move on to your written essays. Your written essays, you'll be given 5 topics, 4 which will be generally based on current affairs, and 1 that will be based on an officer, essentially, or an officer's role. Whatever one you pick, you will not be able to use in your group discussions later, so make a mental note to think of a different topic when you come to group discussions later. You are also going to get a general knowledge test, which are 110 questions long, which will range from geography, art, all the way to politics and world current affairs. So if I was you, just get your world current affairs down and politics down, if nothing else. That will be the end of the first day. Then you're going to move on to day 2, where you will have discussion groups, which we've spoken about earlier, and then you will move on to the interviews. We'll have the interview, which will go through your CV, why you want to become an officer once again, and also the risks of becoming an officer, and if you understand the risks of being a soldier in general. If you've written something on your CV like you speak another language, this is where you've got to be prepared to speak that other language, and they will find out if you've been lying on your CV. After the interview, you'll be on to Leaderless Tasks, which you've already done in the briefing day, and then you'll be moving on to the opening race. This is where you and your syndicate will probably have to get from A to B faster than all the other syndicates. It will be a race, but chances are there'll be obstacles in the way that you'll probably have to pick up and take with you over the finish line. So that will then be the end of the day, and then you're moving on to day 3, and the beginning of the day 3 is going to be another planning exercise. So I will also, I'm not sure if I mentioned it earlier, but I'll put down planning exercise for you to practice, which will be similar to the ones you're going to do at the selection board. Once you've done that, you will then move on to command tasks. Like the leaderless task, but this time one person at a time will be in charge of the group, and it'll be up to them generally to take the lead for the entire command task itself. Next, you have the individual assault course, which will be outside, and you will have to complete all the obstacles at least once in a time of 3 minutes. So this will also be a huge test of your fitness and agility. After the assault course, you will then be on what's called the lecturette, whereby you will be given 5 topics from your CV that you said you have interest in, and you will have to provide a 5-minute presentation on any one of those 5 topics. Once that's complete, you then move on to the dinner night, where you can let your hair down a bit, because I would imagine it would have been a stressful couple of days for you. Whatever happens, do not kick the arse out of it. If you think you're a hand grenade once you've had a couple of beers down you and you don't know how you're going to act, don't drink. Just do not drink. Plus, the next day, you move into what's essentially the last event, which is another race, and it'll also be a series of leaderless tasks, which will be just like the opening race that you did. So that's your week done. So now we're just going to move into just some general advice to think about while you're there going throughout the week. If things are going wrong, don't worry about it. You have to keep moving forward. If you start dwelling, because of the pace of the actual week itself, if you start dwelling on things, you're just probably gonna go downhill. The tests aren't really a strict pass or fail, so where you might score low on one aspect of the assessment, you could really make that up later on. Still get the go ahead for Sandhurst, but they may say to you that you need to work on one area or another. Right, I've got some advice here from some successful candidates. Here we go. Turn up fit. I think that goes for yourself. You're going to do a lot of fizz on this week. Don't lose hope, even if you think you failed something. Forget about it and move on. Show enthusiasm throughout and approach it with a smile. You will enjoy it. You'll probably enjoy it once you've finished it, I would imagine. Humour is very important, but don't appear flippant. Volunteer. Don't always be the first to volunteer. You have to give other people a go. That's the sign of a leader. But try and be in the first 3. Show team spirit. Encourage and help the weaker members and get on well with everyone in the group. Don't be a bully. Don't flap, even under pressure. Remain calm. If inside you're panicking like mad, don't show it externally. Think about your interview questions in advance. Think about sports, hobbies, activities, interests, reading. Show a wide variety of interests as you can. Do your homework. Prepare on current affairs by reading the newspaper, watching and listening to the news, and certainly watching current affairs program on television. And practice your mental arithmetic, especially the distance, speed and time, and also having a go at the GCSE bite-sized piece as well. That's it. That's generally the Army Officer Selection Board before you go to Sandhurst. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments box below and I will get back to you.